Hello, Internet. Henry, Calvin, I know you're out there, and anyone else watching this except Matt Leichman. I feel like we called out Matt Leichman too early. Now we can't call him out anymore. So note Matt Leichman. But I mean, you can still watch the video if you want. You're fine. Anyway, welcome to After Campfire. Much like Henry, I am not in my normal location, and that is because the semester is over, and I graduate on Sunday. And then I go to Israel next week. And then I go to camp the week after that. And then I'm there till like September 5th. And then I move to like South Jersey and do research and do cool stuff also for the year and try and get my life together. Which leads me straight into Henry's question, which he asked me last week, which was, what do I expect my first day of big boy job to be like? And I'm going to call it big boy job because it just seems like the adult and mature thing to do for someone who's graduating college. And it's funny because I have a lot of ideas for what I would love my dream jobs to be and this and that. And I don't know if there's really like a first day of work kind of thing that like this stands out. I've had a lot of first days of work. I've worked in schools, I've worked in camp, I've worked at I've worked in, the kennel. I'm technically self-employed and doing my own stand-up comedy. I've worked at an awful job as a telemarketer person. So I guess the answer to that question is if I could describe what my ideal first day is, I kind of view it as this day of, if I'm in it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm in a school, I've been in a school already. I remember one of my like first days I was in a classroom and they moved me to a different classroom because the teacher needed help, and I walk in and there's one kid crying in the corner, and there's another kid crying, and two kids yelling at each other, and four kids screaming, and the guidance counselor looks at me and goes, "Alright, Sam, make all of them work." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine, sure, okay." And these little kids, I'm not going to say what age they were, I'm not going to say what grade they were, I'm not going to say class, any of that stuff. I'm not going to say anything about the teacher that was in the class either. I'm going to be very professional, mature about this. But like I walked in, I go up to the first guy, get him functioning and working. I'm like, "Listen, you're fine. Everything's good. The world's a great place." Ha 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 ha. And he starts doing his work, and the next kid starts doing his work, and then I get to the third kid, and suddenly she begins crying, and I'm like, "Hey, what's the matter?" And she just drops the bombshell. "Oh, my mom died 2 weeks ago." Oh. What? And it caught me so off guard. I mean, like, I handled it properly, but like that's the kind of stuff I expect on my first day. And that's the kind of stuff I want. Like, on a lot of people's first day, they want, nothing to go wrong. No. When you work in psychology, you want people to come into your office screaming and crying on the first day. It's cool, it's exciting, it's fun. So I wanted a little bit of craziness on my first day, whatever I end up doing. So there's my answer to that question. The next question, which I was asked, was my own, because I totally skipped it, and I done goofed. And my question to myself from last week, which I totally goofed on, was if I can go back in time, where would I go? I think the Renaissance were cool. I like the Renaissance. I think the 60s, I think I would have been a cool, like, late 60s person, that kind of stuff. So those are my top two if I had to go back in time. With that said, I don't know. I'm not much for a past person or a present person. I'm more of a, I'm just here. I'm enjoying my time, and I'm very good with the flow, and a large amount of college has taught me that that's the way I like to live my life, and I'm not going to change that. Got a little bit preachy there. I'm sorry, world. So, anyway, so I have a question for Henry, and it's a very specific question because we did something like this before a few months back, earlier in the channel time. We asked if you can go anywhere, where would you go and why? Um, and we answered that question. It's cool and dandy. I want to change this up. I want to ask if you could go anywhere for your dream vacation, where would it be? Describe your dream vacation in like detail, like where would you go? How long would you go for? What would it be like? What kind of hotel would you stay at? What would you do on vacation? Would you go alone or would you bring people? Um, like stuff like that. I want to know like good, what's your dream vacation like? Um, I look forward to hearing from your answer. Actually, so I'm gonna just bring this up relatively quickly. My next video is gonna be from Israel, so everyone's gonna need to be prepared for that. Because I'm not gonna be in this country during it, and it's gonna come out at a weird time, and it's gonna be awkward, and most likely playing films and sleeping. That's the moral of that story. With that said, Henry, I'm glad you're enjoying your new job. To the rest of the internet, have a beautiful day, and to the world, stay classy, stay pretty, and remember, I didn't actually have anything to follow that. Goodbye!